गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Okay, idu in Sugama today we were doing that some Dvaitins objected that Aham Brahmasmi word. Two points he referred in one place. How the word Aham Brahmasmi in that Upanishadic statements, the Aham word refers to Atma, and it is equating with Brahma. This proves, according to Purvapakshi, this proves that Aham is an Aham Pratyaya Vishayatvam, being an object of Aham. That means what is known through the I thought, what is known through the I thought, that is a Aham Buddhi, that's an individuality, is an essential part of the Atma. To this Siddhanti replied that it is not equating Aham Pratyaya Vishaya. What is an object of I thought, it is not equating the object of I thought with Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi is falsifying. On falsifying Aham Buddhi Vishaya, by falsifying Aham Buddhi Vishaya, it is equating with Brahman. Because Aham Buddhi is a relative one, limited one. What is limited and relative can't be equated with Brahma, which is absolute. Aham Buddhi Vishaya cannot be equated with absolute Atma. See, because it's a contradiction. Therefore, he doesn't mean it. You have misunderstood. Therefore, the Bhashyakara's explanation in Upadesha Sahasri, Swamiji has quoted that. We have explained it. So, he has quoted, what is that? The shloka again, I just repeat it. Idamamsho ahamityatra. In that aham, what is aham pratyaya vishaya? In that aham, in the idea of I, in the I notion, there is a idamamsha. Idamamsha means what is known, what is conceivable. Because any notion, any idea, any thought is known in the consciousness. Therefore, that in the aham pratyaya vishaya, there is an idamamsha. By removing the idamamsha, ahamityatra tyajyo anatmeti panditaihi. By the Vivekis, by the Vedanta Vicharakas, it should be separated, it should be given up as anatma. Then what remains? Aham brahmeti shishtomshaha. Then the shishtomshaha, when the aham thought is removed, because aham thought is known to the consciousness, known to Sakshi. What is known to Sakshi is a thought. This we have already elaborately discussed, so I am just briefly telling. So, aham pratyaya vishaya is because anything that you conceive, anything that is thought of, is known in the consciousness. Consciousness itself is not a thought. Consciousness itself is not thought, nor it is available to thought. Consciousness cannot be conceived of, thought of. If you think of something that is known to consciousness, itself is not consciousness. See, this is the subtle difference. The aham pratyaya, the I notion itself is not consciousness. It is not sticking to consciousness. It is known within the consciousness. I notion you find in the waking state. In deep sleep state, you are without a notion. So that I notion is found only in the waking and dream state. I notion is found only in the waking and dream, whereas in deep sleep it doesn't exist. This shows that I notion is not Atma, because I notion is going away, is leaving the Atma. Second point, I notion is known to consciousness. Because in the entire wakeful consciousness itself is free from I notion. See, the entire wakeful consciousness, which is Sakshi, itself is free from I notion. I notion is a part of a waking state. I notion is a part of a waking state, and that I notion is a notion in contrast with you notion. Okay? I notion is an exclusive notion. It excludes the rest of the world, and it is in relationship with the you notion. Therefore, I notion is relative to you notion, and that notion is known in the consciousness. Consciousness itself is unrelated to either I notion or you notion. It is free from both. Consciousness itself is free from any notion. Either I notion or you notion itself is free from a notion. Because consciousness is self-shining. Consciousness is self-shining and self-existing. It is not a notion, because any notion, any idea refers to something given piece, something given, something this much and not the other. A notion, an idea, a thought always thinks of something, a given thing, and excluding something else. But consciousness doesn't exclude anything. It is entire consciousness. It is consciousness, and consciousness. That's all. It doesn't exclude anything. Thought is also a kind of consciousness, but it is an exclusive consciousness, a limited consciousness. That is consciousness of something excluding something else. Therefore, it is a form of consciousness, like a wave in water. A wave in water, wave doesn't comprehend the entire water. It only comprehends one aspect, one part, or one location, an area of water. Wave comprehends a part of water, not the complete water. Wave comprehends a part of water. Similarly, a thought comprehends a part of consciousness, not the entire consciousness. Therefore, any notion, whether I notion, you notion, is a relative and limited, and also something a given. It's not the absolute consciousness. And it is known within the consciousness. That means consciousness can see, consciousness can be aware of a certain limitation, individuality, this much, that much, any idea is known in the consciousness. Consciousness itself is not objectifiable. Therefore, what is known, what is Vishaya of consciousness is not consciousness. Therefore, by removing, by eliminating, how do you eliminate? You don't consciously eliminate. You only become aware of how consciousness stands without any notion of I. In the waking state I am talking, not the witness of the state. Two things are, one is a witness of the state, another is within the state. An individuality within the state is a pramata, is a knower. Is a knower, is a thought, because he is related to known. So within the waking state, a knowerhood or a knowership, jnatrutvam. The jnatrutvam is a limited entity related to other. But the entire consciousness, the consciousness as it is stands by losing the notion of I. Consciousness is not always associated with I notion. I notion is present within the waking state, but the wakeful consciousness, the entire wakeful consciousness is free from I notion, free from self notion, isn't it? Therefore, the entire consciousness stands without I notion. This shows that the I notion is dropped off, I notion is set aside when the consciousness stands as consciousness. Okay, this consciousness is called Brahman. Now, when you say I am the Brahman, what is that I you are referring to? I was imposed upon the consciousness, and the Sakshi of all the three states is Brahman. the Sakshi of all the three states. How is the Sakshi known? How is the Sakshi, who is the Sakshi of all the three avasthas? See, again I say, the Sakshi of all the three avasthas, how is the Sakshi seen in a given state? The entire Sakshi of all the three states is seen in a given state as an I notion, isn't it? Sakshi of all the three states as seen as I notion of waking state. Therefore, this I notion of waking state is all we have in order to refer to the Atma. See, during Adhyasa, during Aham Buddhi, when I have Aham Buddhi, I refer to Aham Buddhi alone, I refer to the Atma through Aham Buddhi. I refer to the Atma through Aham Buddhi. Whatever the I thought, whatever the I notion comprehends, I think that is Atma. Whatever the small area, whatever portion that I notion comprehends, whatever part of Atma, whatever part of entire consciousness, of the entire consciousness, only a small part is comprehended by I notion. Okay, the I notion comprehends only a small part of the entire consciousness. Therefore, this I notion, which is referring to Aham, but only in a small way, in a small degree, a small part of it. Therefore, this I notion, which is referring to only a part of Atma, by dropping it, by losing itself, when it loses itself, what remains? The pure existence of Atma remains without any reference through I thought. See, the reference through, the referability through I thought goes away. When you stand as the entire Sakshi of all the three states, the Sakshi of all the three states becomes free from I notion, becomes free from the referability of I notion. Because the I notion refers to only small part of it, doesn't refer to the entire Atma. Therefore, Atma stands without any referability. It stands beyond all references. So, what stands beyond all references is referred as Brahman. That is called Brahman. So, that Brahman is equated. So, this Aham thought, I notion, when it is present, using that I notion, by dropping the I notion, what remains is a pure consciousness. With that pure consciousness, it is equated. Therefore, the I notion is not standing at equal level with Sakshi. I notion is not standing at equal level with Sakshi, but only in an Adhyastha stage. In the waking state or in the dream state, in the Adhyastha state, only I notion is used. So that I notion going away, by going away, what it leaves? Sakshi alone leaves. So in that Sakshi, Aikyam is told, Aham Brahmasmi. Aikyam is told at that level. Then where is that Aham? Aham word existed before, not now. That Aham thought existed before we dropped it. So therefore, using that Aham thought before we dropped it, and the Brahman after dropping I thought. See, two levels are there. One is Aham thought before we drop it, that is in waking state, that is in Adhyasa. And that Aham thought is equated with Brahman, which is understood after dropping the I thought. After dropping the I thought, what remains? With that Brahman, equation is done. Equation is done not by retaining the I thought. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. When we say that I thought, by retaining the I thought, it is not equated with Brahman. By dropping the I thought, what remains is Brahman. That alone is told. Therefore, Aham gets dropped. So therefore, Aham word is used at one level and Brahman is at another level. It is like calling. I give you one example, it becomes easy. When you are seeing the snake, you say, this snake is nothing but rope. When we say rope, How do you equate the snake with rope? By negating the snake, by dissolving the snake, you equate it with rope. By retaining the snake, you are not equating with rope, you can't do it. By retaining the snake, while perceiving the snake, rope cannot be seen. While perceiving the snake, rope cannot be perceived. By negating, by sublating, by falsifying the snake, you equate the snake with rope. Equating means what? The snake doesn't exist, only rope remains. So similarly, Aham Brahmasmi is not teaching that by retaining the I thought, it is not teaching Brahmatvam. By dropping, by negating, by falsifying the I thought, what remains? With that Brahma, it is teaching the oneness. In that oneness, the sentence also dissolves. The sentence of I am Brahman, both the sentence itself goes away, only its lakshartha, its swarupa remains. Therefore, the sentence is pointing out Brahma, not by relation. Generally, any sentence reveals its idea. Any sentence gives its meaning by being related to that object. Okay, when you use the word sentence, the sentence in its relation with its object, it teaches, it conveys. A sentence conveys its meaning by being related to the meaning. This is a book. When I say this is a book, this statement, this is a book, when I say this statement being related to the book, it conveys. But whereas Aham Brahmasmi sentence, not by relating to Brahman, by losing itself, it conveys Brahman. The sentence loses itself, gets sublated, gets falsified, then leaves only Brahman, and there is no relation between sentence and the meaning of the sentence. Sentence and the meaning of the sentence both get dissolved, and what remains is Swata Siddha Brahma. This way it conveys. Okay, Vakyam conveys in its lakshartha. Lakshartha means what? The Vakya or a sentence generally operates in a relational way. A sentence, a word refers to its object through relationship. Word, Shabda Shabdartha Sambandha. Word and its relation, word and its object. But here, Aham Brahmasmi sentence is not related to Brahman. Like the snake, how does the snake point out the rope? Snake by existing, it doesn't point out the rope. Snake by dissolving, it points out the rope. It leads us to the rope. Snake shows the rope. Snake shows us the rope not by existing by the side of it. Snake existing in the mistaken snake. Snake by standing by the side of the rope, it doesn't point out the rope. Snake by dissolving itself points out the rope. See, you watching the snake and keep on watching it. When the light is put on, the snake dissolves. In that very place where snake was existing before, the same place is called rope. Similarly, where you saw the I thought, the same existence, the same consciousness, I thought getting dissolved itself, the I thought getting negated itself points out Brahman, because I thought is sitting on the place of Brahman, sitting on the place of consciousness. I thought, just as the snake is sitting in the place of rope, therefore snake by dissolving leads you, by dissolving it, it takes your attention to the rope. Similarly, I thought by dissolving, it leaves you in Brahman. The snake, the I thought itself dissolves into Brahman, and you stay as a Brahman. This is how it points out the Brahman. The Upadesha Sahasri Shloka is from the Tattvamasi Vakya. It's not Tattvamasi, but some other place. But it's a beautiful. Upadesha Sahasri is an excellent grantha. If one wants to study Vedanta, it is an independent work of Shankaracharya. It's an excellent work. But each sentence requires a good manana. A teacher who himself does manana should teach. Otherwise, if you go by the book, you will lose the beauty of it. You will lose the beauty and the meaning of it. If you do manana, each shloka directly points out the truth. Is an excellent grantha of Bhagavan Shankaracharya. Okay, so idamamsho, this one shloka itself, you see how beautifully it conveys. Idamamsho ahamityatra tyajyo anatmeti panditaihi. The very aham thought, its referability, what you comprehend through I thought, it is negated. So what remains beyond the referability of I thought? Beyond the referability I thought, by negating it equates with aham is equated with Brahma, not by retaining aham, it is equated with Brahma. That aham thought, aham word is equated with Brahma, not by retaining aham thought. By negating aham thought, it is equated with Brahma. So this those who do not understand, they think that aham thought is an essential part of Atma. He says, in aham brahmasmi, aham word is there as equating with Brahma, is connecting with Brahma. Aham thought cannot be connected with Brahma. It is total contradiction. Abba. I thought I don't know how many days it's goes on. My bad luck is Purajanma Papa nice. Wherever I go, nice is with me. It won't leave me. There is a prarabdha, I think. As long as I am alive, nice will be with me. It won't go. Terrible nice. A road roller and the cement and all that. Concrete cement mixing machine. It makes here a lot. Okay. I'll do as much as I do. If it is too unbearable, I'll stop it. I don't know how many days it will go on like this. Holiness-pura Ashrama has come to the center of noise. All four sides there is noise, and the Holiness-pura Ashrama is right in the midst of noise. It has become a noisy ashrama. Because the Kali Yuga, nothing leaves Kali Yuga. Everything has to be destroyed. Everything has to be broken into pieces. Nothing should be left out. No peace, no silence should be left out. Everything should be disturbed by noise. Okay. Sound. This is how we have developed our civilization. Noise is our civilization. Sound is our civilization. Disturbance is our civilization. There should be no peace. Only violent people. Only murderers alone are called spiritual people, religious people. Only murderers are religious people. Terrorists are religious people. Not any sane person. No sane person can be called a religious person. This is Kali Yuga. I think the machine, the fellow is further raising more and more. At least I close the door. Okay, just to give me little time. Ammaya. Ammaya. I closed all the doors, but not much difference. Anyway, as long as I have little patience, I'll speak. So in aham, because that's why they told these Upanishads should be studied in forest, not in towns and cities at all. They should be studied in forest. In towns and cities only Janaka studies, not we. We are not Janakas anyway. At least I am not. I need to be in forest. I can't live in the towns and cities. Oh, it's unbearable. One thing is very unfortunate. I went to Himalayas. I really thought that I will remain lifelong in Himalayas. What prarabdha brought me to my social life. This whole India and particularly staying in the society and all. Oh, I should have remained there alone. I don't know why did I come. It is such a beautiful place, Himalayas. Bah. Once you see, just you love to remain there alone. Okay. So, idamamsho. So there, aham thought is equated with Brahma, not by standing, just as snake is equated with rope, not by standing as a snake, but by dissolving the snake. Snake dissolving becomes one with rope. It conveys the rope. Similarly, aham brahmasmi doesn't mean what you think. Siddhanti says. What you means what Purvapakshi thinks. Okay, next statement. Upadesha Sahasra is over. Next statement Swamiji is quoting. Sugama is a complete Vedanta. I think every point of Swamiji in the preface, Abba, that fellow switched off the motor. It is good. So, in Swamiji said in the preface that Sugama itself, if you study, that is Adhyasa Bhashya, he wrote commentary in such a way, the entire Vedantic ideas, the summary of all Upanishads, all Vedanta, he put in one Sugama. You will see everything. See, Mahavakya has come here. Somewhere, some idea, all Vedantic ideas are covered here. Avastatraya Viveka has come, Sushupti of course has come, Adhyasa has come, Mahavakya has come, everything has come. In Sugama, Matte, again he is raising. So, in Sugama, in Swamiji's commentary, he has covered the entire Vedanta in this one booklet. Swamiji told, if you study one Adhyasa Bhashya, you don't need to study anything. Everything is covered in this thing. So, next Swamiji, he wrote the commentary in such a way. I think Swamiji's whatever writings are is an amazing thing. They will remain for another 2,000 to 3,000 years. If the world remains, seeing the present condition, whether world will remain, we don't know, or it will get killed, wiped out with these barbaric religions. These barbarian religions, whether they allow the humanity to survive or they will destroy the whole humanity. But assuming that the humanity survives, Swamiji's book will survive until the humanity survives on the earth. Because such a beautiful thing which nobody talked is like another Shankaracharya only. Anyway, so we'll proceed with this thing. Pratyaktva Vartikakara. Sureshwaracharya's statement from Naishkarma Siddhi Swamiji quotes to explain the same point. What is that? Pratyaktvaadati sukshmatvat atma drishtyanushīlanāt ato vrittir vihāyānyāham vrityopalakshate. Then, if aham vritti, now the next point, good question. If aham thought, I notion is to be dropped off, then why is Upanishad using aham vritti to refer to Brahma? Directly refer the Brahma. Why are we using aham vritti in order to refer Brahma? See, why are we referring? That's Sureshwaracharya. I think Sureshwaracharya is a able disciple of Shankaracharya. In his Naishkarma Siddhi, in his Vartika, you can see his beauty, the clarity and the depth of him. He is an able disciple of a able Guru, a great disciple of a great Guru. like Sureshwaracharya, in his Naishkarma Siddhi, he says, why are we using aham thought in order to refer Brahma, though aham thought is not Brahma? Because there is some reason that our Anubhava shows it. Pratyaktvat, because aham is the innermost in our life. Everything else is external. Everything you can see externally. Everything you negate, world you keep away, body you keep away, mind keep away, sense organs keep away. Everything you set aside. Who? Aham remains. Aham is the innermost in our experience at the level of mind. Aham is the innermost. I thought is the innermost in our Anubhava. And beyond I thought, there is only consciousness. There is nothing else. Isn't it? At the level of the thought, at the level of the mind, aham thought is the innermost compared to all others. All others are external. Aham thought is the only internal. Because it is the I that is looking at the world. It is the I thought, it is the jnatrutvam, it is the knowerhood that is looking at the world, watching the world, thinking of the world, imagining the world, seeing, perceiving, imagining anything. It is the aham thought alone sees the idam thought. So aham thought is the innermost compared to rest of the world. The last thought. Thereafter there is only Brahma. Therefore, aham thought can serve at least as a direction towards Brahma. At least our attention can be thrown out. Our attention can be turned towards Atma by removing, generally our attention is in the world. Our attention can be turned away from the world with the help of aham thought. See, Sureshwaracharya's explanation is also no less. This Naishkarma Siddhi, one shloka explains the entire Vedanta. In fact, each shloka is an amazing thing. If one wants to study, one should study Upadesha Sahasri and Naishkarma Siddhi and Mandukya. These three are amazing books, excellent books. Okay, see, Pratyaktvat. Aham Pratyaya is the Pratyak. Pratyak means the innermost compared to the entire world. Entire world is external and aham thought is the innermost. Because by holding on to aham thought, you can see everything, you can set aside everything as outside. Everything can be set aside as outside by holding on to I thought. Therefore, Pratyaktvat, it helps our attention to draw from the entire world towards the Atma. It is not exactly Atma. Aham thought is not Atma, but it takes you nearest to the Atma and away from the rest of the world. Away from the rest of the world and nearest border of the Anatma. Aham Pratyaya comes to the border. Next you drop off aham thought, the only Brahman remains. Therefore, Pratyaktvat, it is the innermost compared to all other things. Ati Sukshmatvat. Another is aham thought is the most Sukshma. In fact, aham thought people cannot recognize at all. To distinguish aham thought from the Sakshi is the most difficult thing. People think aham thought alone is Atma. Because it is so Sukshma, means it is very, very transparent. Like the mirror. Mirror is like a glass. Glass is so transparent. If you put in a photo frame, in a photo, you put a glass over it and bind it with a frame. So the glass is so transparent that it merges into the photo and you cannot see it. Similarly, aham pratyaya comes so close to Atma, ati sukshma. Aham pratyaya is found in the pure antakarana only. In the antakarana, the pramatrutvam or jnatrutvam is a thinnest thought. Is a very transparent thought. Therefore, it is ati sukshma. What is sthula? Sthula is the mind or the emotions, sense organs, body and the external world. All these are external. Atma is, aham buddhi is atyanta sukshma, near to the Atma. Therefore, pratyaktvat, it is innermost. Sukshmatvat, it is a very subtle one. Subtle means very transparent. Atma drishti anushilanat. Atma drishti anushilanat. If you do anusandhana, Anusandhana means what? Tracing the Atma Drishti. Because aham vritti, that I thought, carries the Atma Drishti in it. What is Atma Drishti? Consciousness. Atma's Drishti is Atma only. Atma's Drishti is consciousness. This aham buddhi, aham vritti carries the consciousness in it. Because it is the aham vritti, when it carries the consciousness, that's why we call it as a jnatrutvam. We call it as a knowership. Aham buddhi is a knower, but its real knowership belongs to Atma alone. Therefore, when you know the idam world in the form of idam, when you know the world in the form of idam, this, who is that knowing as idam? Aham vritti alone knows. Atma doesn't know the world as idam. For Atma, there is neither aham nor idam. Atma is thoughtless, it is non-dual. It is the aham pratyaya, it is the jnatrutvam that knows the world as idam. Therefore, it carries the nature of aham. What is Atma? Atma is consciousness. So the aham buddhi or the jnatrutvam has a similarity. Aham drishti anushilanat means it has got a similarity with consciousness. Aham drishti anushilanat. So it carries that ahamness in it, because in aham pratyaya, Atma is adhyaropitam. That's why aham pratyaya has got a most closest similarity with the Atma. Closest similarity with the Atma, because the Atmatvam is imposed on aham pratyaya. The consciousness is imposed on aham pratyaya. Therefore, whenever we see like this book I am seeing, this cell phone stand, this light and wall I am seeing, when I say I am seeing, who is that? In the Atma's consciousness, it is the aham vritti is seeing as I am seeing, so that I thought standing in place of Atma, that is taking Atma upon itself, imposing Atma upon itself, aham is seeing the world. Aham is seeing the entire world by imposing the Atma's consciousness upon itself. Therefore, aham drishti anushilanat. It is imposing the aham drishti upon itself. 3 reasons. For these 3 reasons, aham pratyaya is used to convey the Atma in the Mahavakya. In the Mahavakya of aham brahmasmi, aham vritti is used. One is because it is pratyaktvat, it is innermost. Ati sukshmatvat, it is very transparent, close to Atma. It is so transparent that it reflects Atma in it. Then Atma drishti anushilanat. So Atma drishti is imposed on it. It carries the Atma's consciousness, Atmahood in it. Atmahood means consciousness. So that aham buddhi carries Atmatvam upon it. That is Adhyasa. So therefore, see, in snake, rope is imposed on the snake. That's why snake can be used to point out the rope. If suppose a rope is not related to snake, then snake cannot be used to point out the rope. Snake can be used to point out the rope, or a reflection can be used, a photo can be used to remember the person. A person's photo can be used to remember the person, because photo is nearest to the person. And it has got a lot of similarity with the person. It just reflects the very person. When you look at the photo, you have no, if you pay attention fully to the photo, you forget that it is a photo, you see that it is a person alone, because the personness is superimposed upon his photo. The person's nature, person's personality or his appearance is imposed upon the photo. Therefore, you forget that it is a photo and start seeing the person alone. Isn't it? Don't we see that? Similarly here, so aham vritti carries the Atmatvam, consciousness as imposed upon it. Therefore, aham vritti can be used by negating aham vritti, the consciousness remains. Therefore, Sureshwaracharya went one more step further, much more clarity of. In fact, Naishkarma Siddhi can be called as a commentary on Upadesha Sahasri. Just as Mandukya Karika is a commentary on Mandukya Upanishad, Mandukya Bhashyam is a commentary on Mandukya Karika, and Swamiji's Mandukya Rahasya Vivriti is a commentary on Mandukya Bhashyam. See, similarly, Naishkarma Siddhi is a commentary on Upadesha Sahasri. He expands Upadesha Sahasri excellently. Bah! As a fit student, as a fit Shishya of, Yogya Shishya of Shankaracharya, Sureshwaracharya, in his Naishkarma Siddhi explains, you see, how he is explaining how Aham Pratyaya is useful as a vehicle to understand Brahman. Aham Pratyaya is useful as a vehicle because it first you hold on to Aham thought, that is a Pramatrutvam or Jnatrutvam. It removes your attention from the entire world. All the world, your attention is removed. You come closer to the Atma. Next step, it removes even the Aham Pratyaya. It helps you to drop even the Aham Pratyaya and remain as Brahman. Therefore, Pratyaktvat Atisokshmatvat Atma Vrityanushīlanāt Ato Vrittir Vihayanya. Therefore, Vedanta or the Upanishadic statement like Aham Brahmasmi statement, leaving out all other thoughts. It uses Aham thought alone. It uses Aham thought alone to point out Brahman. Aham Vrityopalakshate. Aham Vritti is used as a lakshana. Lakshana means as an implication. To imply. It is used to imply the Atma. To imply means it is not pointing out. In pointing out, there is a relation. There is a relation with sentence and the meaning. When there is a relation between sentence and meaning, we call it Vachyartha. It is a denoted meaning, not a connoted meaning. It is a denoted meaning, it is a Vachyartha, it is a direct meaning. But the implied meaning, Aham Vritti brings your attention to this side, then Aham Vritti drops off, then what remains is Brahman. It is an implied meaning. So Aham Vritti drops away and shows the Brahman. So Sureshwara's explanation is also beautiful. Okay, Ato Vrittir Vihayanya. Therefore, it uses Aham Vritti to lead you to Brahman, to take you to Brahman, to remove all other Adhyasa, including Aham Adhyasa. Aham is no doubt Adhyasa, but to remove all other Adhyasa, it uses Aham Adhyasa. Then at the last minute, along with Aham Adhyasa, all Adhyasa gets negated. Only you remain Swatasiddha Brahman. Okay. Swavyatirikta Sakala Anatmapek. Oh, this Sureshwaracharya's Naishkarma Siddhi Shloka, Swamiji himself is explaining. I think I unnecessarily explained. I think Swamiji's explanation would have been better. Anyway, let us read Swamiji's explanation of this shloka. Swavyatirikta Sakala Anatma Apekshaya Pratyaktvat. The Pratyak, so repeating because Swamiji's meaning, explanation of the Naishkarma Siddhi shloka. If you are holding the book, I think I wish you all hold the book. I don't know if you know Sanskrit also. You can see my every explanation and every word you can see my explanation. So, Swavyatirikta Sakala Anatma Apekshaya Pratyaktvam. Aham Pratyaya is Pratyak, is innermost. Compared to all other thoughts, Aham thought is the very inner one. Inner to the Atma compared to all other thoughts. All other thoughts much away from Atma. Then, Shabdadi Hinatvena Atindriyataya Sukshmatvat. Second point, Aham Pratyaya is a Sukshma. Because Aham Pratyaya cannot be comprehended through your sense organs. Aham Pratyaya is a thinker. You can't think the thinker. I tell you, Aham Pratyaya you can't imagine. Don't imagine. The imagination itself is Aham Pratyaya. See? Therefore, he says it is Atindriya. It doesn't have Shabda. Aham Pratyaya doesn't have Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. It doesn't have a form. It doesn't have a sound. It doesn't have a touch. It doesn't have a smell. It doesn't have a taste. Aham Pratyaya is a very Sukshma. Aham Pratyaya is a mind, part of a mind. Even in the mind, it is the innermost mind. Even mind also, there is an idam pratyaya, aham pratyaya. There are many thoughts and feelings in the form of idam, but aham is in the form of aham, which is much inner to the innermost of antakarana. Therefore, it is a sukshma. Third point is atma drishti anushilanat, atma drishti manurudya drugiva avabhasanatcha. How beautiful Swamiji is. So it is aham pratyaya is very, very similar to the atma. It is aham drishti anushilanat, aham drishti anurudya. Andre it is close to atma, that aham is infused with consciousness, that it looks almost like a consciousness. It is not consciousness. It looks very near to consciousness. Therefore, drugiva avabhasanatcha, Swamiji's explanation. It appears like a transparent glass piece, glass plate appears like the photo alone. Similarly, so that aham pratyaya appears as an atma. Therefore, pratyagatmaham vrityaiva upalakshate. Therefore, that real atma, that advaita brahmatma consciousness is pointed out through, okay, Bunny, through aham vrityaiva upalakshate nanyabhirvrittiviriti, and in no other thought is used to point out to convey Brahman. Tasmat aham pratyayi api adhyasta eva ityatra na kaschana doshatan. But aham pratyaya is also adhyasta. Okay, note it, aham pratyaya is also adhyasta. That's why even aham pratyaya also gets negated, and you stand without aham pratyaya. Atma stands when the waking state, you drop away waking state, you give up waking state and stand as consciousness in dream. And in deep sleep, neither waking nor dream, all the true you leave out and you stand as pure consciousness. In the deep sleep, there is no aham thought whatsoever. Therefore, the aham thought is also the last thought, but even that is anatma, even that is adhyasta, atma alone. Okay? I think in the last paragraph remains, last 2 paragraphs are there, small paragraphs. I think in this 53rd, as I told you, that 53rd portion is very long. It is going on for days together. So in the next class, I hope we will finish. So this sakshi, that sakshi aham relationship, we have to discuss it, one sentence. With this, I think we come to a last portion of Adhyasa Bhashya. At Sugama. Last topic, last chapter of, not only last, we have got two chapters. Doesn't matter. The 8th one is a smaller one, smaller chapter, and the last chapter is that. After one class, we will come to the last 2 chapters. Okay, we will discuss in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.